So, Kingwell Fine Homes is actually a cost plus builder. And what I mean by that is we take the hard costs of what our client's going to spend, and then we add a percentage on top of that to figure out what our compensation is. And I point that out because I got some questions that I'd love to have a dialogue with people on about what the expectation is in terms of work completed prior to the signing of the contract. So we've had a couple instances now where potential clients have come to us and asked for help with designing a project and making sure that it fits the zoning and that sort of stuff. So we put together a contract. We said, okay, here's what we'd like as a deposit, and they kind of balked. I understand that people want to keep costs down, especially when they haven't taken on that project. It's still in the conditional phase of their offer on a property. But for us, what we certainly don't want to do is take on work and start to having financial obligations to some of our tradespeople for work that they've completed on our behalf for this client, and then being out of pocket for that. So, as we look to move forward with different projects and stuff, what is a reasonable deposit to take? Is it a percentage of what we feel that the end project amount might be, or do we have a flat fee and one that we can just say, hey, you know what, it's going to be $4,000, $3,500. We'll take that off the top if we end up moving forward, or if we don't, that certainly that those costs are sunk. So what? I guess that's it. So what does our model look like that's fair for us, so that we're not getting hit with costs that we can't recoup, and what's fair to the client who's trying to keep expenses down while they're in that process of figuring out if a deal works. One other thing, I guess, as people start to move forward with a project, what is it that they need done? And with Kingwell, we're very fortunate that we work with a couple other companies very closely. Architectural firms, energy modeling for any of the net zero stuff that we might need for some of the MLI Select energy efficiency component. We work with land use planners, and we actually have access to our own development company as well to help with some of the planning stuff. But to give a real life example, the last set of potential clients that we were talking to, they came to us with an existing home that they felt was on a large lot, and that the zoning was big enough that we could build some sort of multi-res project. We thought it was a great opportunity for them. We went through, not giving exact numbers, but they thought maybe they might be able to build out X number of units. Ultimately, based on the designs that we were comfortable with, we were just under half that number. So if whatever number they had in mind when they originally made the offer, we said, based on parking restrictions and that sort of stuff, we could get to about half that number. So, they wanted to see what the footprint would look like. They wanted to see what type of costs would be associated with the budget for vertical construction and that sort of thing. Some of the high level stuff. So, we have a pretty good idea what costs are going to look like when we hit certain items. And what I mean by that is, a kitchen is going to cost X. Number of rooms, we've got an idea of what framing and drywall, paint, flooring, that sort of stuff's going to cost. So we have a fairly decent idea, but with the topography of every lot, and you never know what you're going to pull out of the ground when you're in there demolishing a home, and each site's a little different. We've run into situations where we needed additional shoring because the lot encroached on a neighboring property, and you certainly don't want to impact them. So there's different things that you can't maybe dial into a specific number. When we look at that sort of thing, you need a very specific survey. So again, there's probably $10,000 to get that sort of thing. Then you're looking at architectural design, and what does that look like? Well, certainly there's a fairly large cost for that when you get into the multi-res type products. And when you start talking to servicing, then basically you have to deal with different companies that are going to want to do quotes and that sort of stuff. So again, we can ballpark pretty closely, but when they want an exact budget, what should their expectation be? If we came to them and said, okay, if we get a survey done, it's going to be $10,000, and that cost is borne by them, and send the bill directly to them, and they can pay direct. We're not going to add our markup on that. And ultimately, if they're moving forward with the project, they need architectural designs and survey and all that fun stuff anyway. But if they don't move forward, then are they going to be able to recoup any of those costs? So we want to keep them low. We want to keep them reasonable. We want to do what we can to advise them, but ultimately, we as builders need to protect ourselves, and we need to protect our tradespeople that we work with, and the professionals that we work with, to make sure that they get paid ultimately as well. So again, any feedback in the comments would be great in terms of what you think is a reasonable fee, or do we just make sure that they pay for all those items directly, and we kind of take our own time as just the cost of doing business.